I mean, when you look at ICC income and non-ICC.
Touch TV News Channel. The best.
Sport continue to evolve. We feel that it's very important that we begin to celebrate it, because the entertainment industry have awards, and even the movie industry have awards celebrating the practitioners in their industry. The Celebrity Sport magazine is hosting an award called Sport Legendary Awards, and we have selected you as one of our awardees for your contribution to sports. What do you think about that?
Well, thank you. I'm humbled. First and foremost, I want to say generally, we had the Nigerian Cricket Federation, we have like a 5-point agenda as to if I say 5 strategic pillars. And the third of those pillars is around partnerships, sustained partnerships, partnerships with governments, partnerships with sponsors, and partnership with media, people in the media. So because we rely a lot on the media to spread the gospel of what we are doing across all our strategic imperatives. So when you now see that at the end of the day, you are even getting an added bonus for that same key critical stakeholder for the little we are doing, then it's just truly humbled. But it's not just about me, but it's just about those of us who operate under the overall governance structure and arrangements in the Nigerian Cricket Federation.
All right, sir, that's beautiful. And you have been involved in cricket development for over 2 decades. What initially inspired you to become so deeply involved in the sport of cricket?
Let me say, okay, well, over 2 decades. I mean, when I turned 40 about 20 years ago, it was just about saying, okay, what are you going to give back to society? I mean, I've done a lot in terms of being, by God's grace, a successful chartered accountant with one of the big 4 firms. So it was a case of how did I, looking back and saying what contributed to that overall success. And I found out that being an all-rounder when it comes to academics and then school, then it was just about sports. And 2 key sports, golf and cricket. I played those from my early years, just before I became a teenager. They are quite different. Golf was about individual, you are alone, whereas cricket was about teamwork and the rest of it. So it was just beyond just playing and winning prizes, but what did cricket tell you, or what did it teach you? It taught you things around integrity, teamwork and collaboration, respect for the other person, as well being patient. And I found out that those were the attributes that I was just sort of like translating to my everyday work as a person, and more importantly, even as a professional. So turning 40, we decided to say, okay, let me go back to administration. So from time to time, I was supporting the Edo State Cricket Association. I supported golf a lot in terms of transforming the Professional Golfers Association. I was also captain of Ikoyi Club 1938. But it was only a decade later when I turned 50 and I set up a foundation with my wife called Promoting Ethics Through Sports. And we then decided to do a deeper dive. Promoting Ethics Through Sports has given over, primarily around cricket, over 100 scholarships. Some of the people I even gave scholarships so long ago in one way or the other. Over 12 of them have in one way or the other played for the national team. So it's you just get that satisfaction to say wanting to give back to society. And my way of doing that is just through sports and cricket in particular.
Wow, that's great. Okay, let me, before we join in this one question.
Yes.
Interestingly, you are now the president of the Nigerian Cricket Association. The Nigerian out there, ordinary Nigerian out there, believes that cricket is not popular in Nigeria. What are your strategies? What role do you think you play differently to bring the knowledge of cricket across board so that everybody can connect to this discipline and this ethics of the game? So every child in Nigeria can have at least a bite of cricket.
Oh, thank you very much. You see, you need to be realistic like football. But it depends on what happens. You may end up being like anywhere close to that if we see, I mean, what's happening in India, the Asian countries. We just came from Sri Lanka for the Global ICC conference. You can see that as a religion, tradition. I mean, that's their primary sport. Ours cannot, for what's been centuries, turn overnight. But let me tell you why we are different. First and foremost, we set out to say we are reaching 250,000 kids every year, introducing them to the game of cricket in a structured manner. Tell me which sports does that in the country today? In a structured manner, that means in the database, I'll capture 250,000 kids in for the game of cricket. And along those, you'll see people who are supporting them, parents, school teachers, and all the others. And guess what? Half of those are female. So that's under our developmental agenda. Then the next thing you see is terms of infrastructure. 6 years ago, you could not have an internationally recognized cricket tournament in Nigeria. Now we have 8 grounds where you can host international tournaments. And the International Cricket Council, based on our own governance structure and everything, now want to bring such tournaments here, more and more of those things. So that's infrastructure and equipment. Then you talk about high performance. High performance amongst our players. Our female, 6 years ago, we were ranked 54 in the world. We are now ranked 27 in the world. The male was about 50. Ghana was way ahead of us. We are now 37. So Ghana, we like, I mean, I remember just before COVID, we played a 5-match series with Ghana. They beat us 5-0. Here, this recently, I mean, we beat them even with almost a second string team. So, but the point we're making, so that's high performance in the high performance area. Then, of course, we did not have a main coach. I mean, we did not have high certified coaches, were few, but now we have a fully fledged coaches association where there are over 50 members, internationally recognized. Umpires, the same thing as we speak. 2 of our umpires are on their way to Tanzania for the under-19 cricket qualifying, and one of them is now globally recognized in terms of what we do. So, Association of Umpires in Nigeria is now fully fledged. There are over 100 or more members. And they even have curators. You know what are curators? It means like 5 years ago, there was no one who said, I want to take a job because I want to be maintaining cricket pitches. There's now an association of over 30 or so people. 5 years ago, there was no contracted player. Now we have about 20 players each for male and female that are contracted and getting a salary. Not because it's just the best or highest ever, but just because most of them who are in school have generous allowances and rest so that they can concentrate on. So it's the whole ecosystem of turning the whole thing to business. And when people talk about commercial realities and rest, we built a stronger brand. Do people know about cricket the same way football? No, not yet. But guess what? We are getting even more international recognition for what we do around cricket than even in Nigeria. That's why in the last 5 years, we've consistently received awards from the ICC, either at the regional level, or on the global level for what we first did in terms of our cricket for good when it comes to how we went to IDP camps, how we go to IDP camps to actually introduce the game of cricket, how with the female initiative we did around Zamfara, and then the transitional program that we've done from age group competition to transitioning the PWC under 17 championship. So those are the things we continue to do, and hopefully with some of the new programs we are doing, launches here and there, you'll find out that more people will understand the game. And again, through partnerships such as those, people will now begin to know that cricket is being, that when it comes to stakeholder or fan engagement, that's an area where we think now that we've built a platform and brand, more people will recognize that is really done.
That's excellent.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
You've talked about cricket and you've talked about your life with the golf game. We've seen that you're one of the biggest private donors when it comes to cricket. We've made our research and we know this is of a fact. Please, can you share light what gives you this drive, this commitment? towards,
Even at 60 years.
towards this.
Well, I don't know who is telling you about being the biggest donor before somebody thinks I have a pot donor for some. No, but on a serious note, as I told you that when I turned 50, we set up a foundation called Promoting Ethics Through Sports. And that PETS Foundation just spent my wife and myself 10% of our global income everywhere went to that foundation. And from that foundation, then everybody, that's where we do give scholarships, that's where we do grounds, cricket, we do cricket grounds. That's when we organize or sponsor some competitions as part of what we do. So it's just the passion and excitement. So I don't do a rough calculation of how much I've contributed last year to say, so this guy earns this money. But on a serious note, ultimately, when you just need to see some of the results coming through. You see somebody who otherwise would not have been able to go to school or university and now is attending one of the best private universities, and then his productivity on the pitch is excellent, and this. You come back and see that at the end of the day, because you supported people early, 9 out of the 14 players in your female national team that won bronze medal out of the blues at the first All Africa Games, 9 of them are going to represent the country in under 19 because they started very early. You see some of those things and you are just saying, okay, yes, you want to put in more. But that's not enough. I mean, mine is just the passion that is driving it. And others are doing similar things elsewhere. Maybe not the same proportion because things are, but at the end of it, it's translating that. As I said, now we built that platform where we can get more corporates to come and support it. The key word there is corporates. I've not said government because I know the challenges of governments in terms of how do you keep. There are 32 or more recognized sports organizations, and today's realities you cannot begin to fund them on a realistic. But government has been fantastic in terms of creating the enabling environment, and that's what we need. Whether we needed grants, whether it's access to school, and then, but that's because they've just seen that we have that passion, and they see that we can coexist under a sustainable partnership arrangement.
Thank you very much. We've seen the facilities when it comes to cricket in Nigeria. One is the one we have in Abuja, very fantastic facility. And we want to know, how has this really helped cricketers in achieving, their goals and building individuals or these kids that, like you said, you've been able to bring together into cricket. How has this facility helped in developing players?
Yeah, first and foremost, there was we broke that barrier when it comes to inferiority complex. So guess what? In the past, we played this concrete or AstroTurf, which are not standard facilities. So for instance, if we wanted to go for an international tournament and be competitive, we now have to go to a country where those facilities exist to get used to those things for 3 weeks before you go for the tournament already. Then those things gets very confusing. And I talked earlier about the fact that you now have those tournaments. You have those facilities. You can now host events here. So, but what that has done is that it's reduced costs for us. It's exposed the players to see what they are in terms of international standards and rest. And now we can actively say and really say that Nigeria is now equal with the East Africans for the first time. I mean, we just finished a 5-match series with Kenya. And I mean, they won the first 2 matches. We won the next 2, and they won the final one recently. Today, our under-19 boys trial match with Kenya. It was rained off. We lost the first match. It was rained off, so it was a very close call the second. So now, guess what? The East Africans and some of the Asians, not the main Asian countries, are actually saying we should sign arrangements where we can continue to engage them because our standards our standards are really high at the end of the day. So for us, it's just about, we're naturally talented. So it's not even just amongst the pitch now. We have a high performance center in called the Cricket Lab at TBS Lagos. Once there's indoor facility, you can play 24/7. So people are going there batting, bowling, and rest. So that's been home for some of our national team players for some time. Another one taking place in Edo State now. It's just started. Like-minded. So I'm trying to how do you say, rag some of my friends to join me in that in that initiative. So, and what we're trying to do is in the course of the next 2 years or so, each of the 6 geopolitical zones, we have standard cricket facilities where we can say those are high performance centers. So you are taking the game and that ties back to the other question about how we can make it more popular.
Okay. So are these going to be sponsored by the government or probably
private partnership?
Or private partnership?
What is the biggest cost when it comes to that? I mean, this my accounting is a land and space. So that's what we need from government. So government is very important. But if we want to say government should now say, okay, give us 50 million again to say build or 30 million to build, that would just be a bit asking for. So what we've been doing is they've just been giving us the platform to do it. 1 or 2 state governments have seen what we've done, the impact it's had, and they actually want to work with us in that. I mean, one of the most, I will tell you a very interesting story, and that's even just spurred me to, because you have to partner with people who are interested. I went to 10 years ago where we started Edo Boys High School. It's where we have our high performance center. That's not where I went to. I went to Edo College. I went to Federal Government College. Edo Boys High School used to have a place where they play cricket and football. And I went to meet the principal and said, we're looking for a space for cricket. Spoke with him for half an hour, and he says, this football pitch is fully dedicated now to only cricket.
Wow.
Old Students Association people who used to come here on weekends to have parties, no more. Footballers, you are going to the other side. I actually felt bad that we actually displacing football. So I said, no, we will offer to help you clear the football pitch so they can't feel bad. But guess what? In those 10 years, not a single football match has been played there. Not a single party that has been played there. The only thing we accommodate in that school is their inter-house sports once a year. But what was most telling for us, and I think I shared here that there was when it says, since the introduction of cricket to that school, the truancy rates has dropped 0.
Wow.
So people used to come and see their fellow cricketers play, and they said, rather than going to the bushes and the rest of it. Same thing further down the road, Ioba Girls. Ioba Girls was this fully high performance center in Benin for girls. That's Mrs. Akpata, for instance. If you are doing me, why can't you focus on? But she did that. That's a different. The school principal came and sought me out in one of the events and said, thank you very much. Thank you. School attendance level had increased because the coach insisted that before you play cricket, you have to tell me that you're doing well when it comes to school. When you see all of those things, then you begin to realize that there's more to it, and you want to give. And that's the same template that is going around across much, whether it's in Anambra, Ebonyi, where some of my board colleagues are, the colleague for South West just imported at his own cost cricket items worth about $5,000 that we're giving out to different people across the patch. We're doing all of this, and it's just a joint effort.
All right, so okay, let me come in there. I think we have so many questions about family, your wife and your kids. That's number 1. And number 2, do you see, taking a futuristic view, do you see cricket being played in every secondary school in Nigeria, both private and public? In how many years' time do you think that can be possible? As the father of cricket right now.
Well, the definition of whether it's played in I'll come down to that before I talk about my own immediate family, and they're extremely supportive, by the way. Whether cricket is played in every school, and yes, I know athletics is not done in every school, and I know football is not played in every school. They know about football, but very few schools are playing football. They don't even have the football pitch. So instead, what you have is hubs where people go and play about all. I mean, and just go around. But guess what? We have what we call modified cricket, where with a bat and ball you can play. I could easily tell you that, okay, guys, you've done this and that, let's go downstairs and play cricket. Just the same way we're looking for. Well, you can just get a hub where you can do it in the corridors or somewhere, just hold the plastic bat. So that's part of the overall awareness, and that's why I see a lot of that. And please watch that space. October, November this year, we're going to do a special launch on female cricket. So you're the first to know about that, and hopefully
We will surely have a full program on that.
using partners such as you will see what the ICC, International Cricket Council, has identified Nigeria as one of the two countries that will drive the pilot for this particular cricket female initiative for cricket. That's all because we told them that of the 250 people every year, half of them are females. So now you say schools, and everybody says sports is deteriorating in Nigeria, but cricket is the other way around. When I was playing cricket those days, the whole old Bendel state, there were 5 schools playing cricket. So they used to think that cricket was just the elite school. The Federal Government College, Government College, Government College Ughelli, Edo College, maybe St. Patrick's College, and one other. So there were 5 in the whole. No other person was playing. Now in Edo State alone, there are 30 schools playing cricket.
Oh, fantastic.
Then if you add those in Delta address, so those are part of. So if you also do a projection of people, and when I'm saying playing, you've introduced them to the game. They are organizing their own internal sports and all this kind of thing. Some you just introduce them. Coaches go from time to time to run about it. So. But there are limiting factors, of course, the finance, the space, and all the others to play what we call the real hardball type cricket. But when it comes to just modified cricket, most of those people will continue to do it. What drives me, I have the full support of my wife. As I said earlier, Obosa, she has passion for the game of cricket itself. Not because she plays, but again, there's a female schools competition in Edo State called Patrelli. Patrelli Cricket. Patrelli is the name of her law firm. So she supported that tournament for the past 6 years. And that's the support she brings to the game. I have twin daughters. My twin daughters played tennis. At school level for their schools, and play golf. Those are individual sports. But recently, they've started showing interest in cricket, not because, and one wishes that she had started early so that she felt that she would have been a good player. But the kind of support is more around just wanting to be involved in the game. They are in their early 20s now, but when they see some of the young girls, the way they are playing, they want to serve as mentors to them. To me, that is priceless. The fact that I have their full support at home, and they even urge me to do more.
Thank you very much.
All right.
You want to add?
I want to go back to in
Challenges.
India, in Australia,
South Africa.
I know the ICC plays a very important role when it comes to cricket financing. So I want to ask if that's the same with Nigeria. I know cricket is growing in Nigeria and is rapidly picking up pace. So I want to know if the ICC is actually looking at Nigeria when it comes to financing, in helping us build the sports. Apart from our government.
ICC is the biggest financer of cricket now. When you look at ICC income and non-ICC income, so it's in the proportion of like about 70 to 30%, but 70% ICC and non-ICC income. But it's nowhere near where, I don't even want to talk about you do your own research and find out where the full member countries get in terms of their income. So and within that, the Indians, I mean, the top 12 test playing nation, then you now get about the associates. Then you have the associates. The associates are in different platforms. So even amongst the associates, we're not even amongst the top when it comes to income. But guess what? It's not. We needed to create that brand. So what the ICC is giving for development now, people say it may be disproportional to high performance, because the high performance is where they get. So if I manage to say, okay, I'm in the top 30 for cricket, I get more money. If I'm in the top 20, I get more. But how do you get there? You need to invest. You need to work on it. So for the little amount, for instance, Uganda made the World Cup recently. Uganda went for that tournament. It could have been, okay, where our odds were just in Namibia last year. But Uganda displaced Zimbabwe, and that was a shock to everybody, and that has just changed them because of high performance. But do I want to high performance? Okay, yes, I want people to win, and that's where I need to educate people. But if I want to win that state, what will happen is that my focus will shift to, rather than develop people. Yeah, all the questions you've been asking about popularity of the game, in terms of numbers, reaching schools, that will be defeated. Instead, any small money I have, I will start going on a tour to the rest of Europe, not to play, looking for Nigerians who other people have trained and say, just come and win for us. Or even people who say, they've asked the GM and secretary, they are here, about people who are calling from India, not Nigerians or Indians themselves, or Asians and rest, who see what we are doing and say, oh, by the way, what's our protocols around not nationality, but qualifying to play for countries, whether you need to be resident here for 3 years or something like that, because they're interested in saying, okay, they want to play for us. But to me, at the end of the day, that's not sustainable development in the long run for us. So we'll get there when it comes to many corporates. As I said, we now have a brand, and that brand is such that in next year we're going to be going through commercial drive, and if we succeed, even halfway, 30% of what we think we will achieve, then you really see cricket at the level that everybody's going to be shocked. But again, if you think I did this for free, I'm hoping that you will help me spread the message.
Thank you very much. It was quite an eventful moment with you. It's at a time like this, you are a leader now, at least in a sector that drives Nigerian youth. What message generally do you have for them as a take home after listening to you?
Back to the same point, whether it's cricket, it's hockey, it's football, what's driving cricket and why we're focusing on youth is because of those ethics of the game, what the game does. You were talking about integrity, collaboration, respect for an individual. Just generally caring for one another. So those values are very important, and most of those things are displayed. And guess what? You translate those things are translated to your next life. I mean, your schoolwork and all the others. So you see that cricket today, it can be competitive. At the end of the day, you just see the whole team comes and traditionally shake one another. Football and all the other, yes, they hug and rest, but in a structured manner, you do such, and it goes beyond just that physical showing of that. So you must continue to respect one another through that kind of sports. In my view, I've been a big beneficiary of that, and we should just continue to focus on that. Of course, when balancing that with your education in one form or the other. Education in this case, I'm not just saying you must go through university based on your strengths. I mean, you must continue to do that. That's what we insist we do. And I believe now, at the end of the day, for us in cricket, we've opened opportunities for different people to have a rewarding platform, as it were, so that, I mean, whatever you want to do, even your post cricket playing days.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Thank you for having us with you.
Thank you very much.
We're proud to be here.
Sorry, I'm used